Lucas Hart was the kind of man who wore silence like armor. At 36, he had eyes older than his age. The kind of eyes that had seen too much and carried it all quietly. His mornings started the same 6-700 a.m. alarm, a deep sigh, black coffee in a chipped mug, and pancakes shaped like dinosaurs for his 6-year-old daughter, Emma. 3 years ago, cancer had taken the love of his life, Maria. Since then, he had lived 2 lives. One for himself, and one for Emma. He worked as a mechanic in a small-town garage, his hands permanently stained with grease, his heart permanently scarred with loss. Emma was his world. She had her mother's smile. Wide, soft, and impossibly bright. Every time she laughed, it sounded like a future he still wasn't sure he deserved. Lucas didn't date. He didn't have the time or the heart for it. Until one random Tuesday, when he met her. It started at the local flower shop. He was there to buy lilies, Maria's favorite, for her memorial. She was there looking completely out of place in a small, town flower store, tall, elegant, wearing sunglasses like she was hiding from the world. She smiled at him when they both reached for the same bouquet. "You take it," she'd said with a soft, refined voice. "You had it first." They both laughed. That laugh stuck with him all day. Later that week, he saw her again. This time at the bookstore. Then again at the coffee shop. It wasn't fate. It was the rhythm of small towns. But it felt like fate. Because every time he saw her, he couldn't stop thinking about how she made him feel something he hadn't felt in years: curiosity, hope. Her name was Elise. And after their third run in, she asked him out for coffee. Till Lucas panicked. It had been so long since anyone looked at him like a man and not just Emma's dad. He looked down at his oil-stained jeans and cracked hands and thought, why would someone like her be interested in someone like me? Still, he said yes. The night before the date, Lucas stood in his bedroom staring at a small wooden box on the dresser. Inside was a watch. A silver vintage Omega, the only thing Maria had gifted him before she passed. It didn't work anymore, but he never fixed it. It was the last thing he had of her, the last thing that felt like her touch. But he also knew his clothes were worn, his shoes scuffed, and he couldn't even afford a decent bouquet of flowers. So the next morning, with a heavy heart, he took the watch to a pawn shop. He walked out with 100 EUR and tears in his eyes. He bought a fresh shirt, cleaned his best shoes, and picked out a beautiful bouquet of peonies and white roses. He was ready, or at least, he hoped he was. At 32, she was the only heir to the Monroe Corporation, a multi-billion-dollar empire built on luxury hotels and real estate. Her father had raised her in boardrooms and private jets, but never in love. She had been engaged once. To a man who saw her wealth, not her worth. When her mother died of a stroke 2 years ago, Elise had walked away from the family name. She changed her number, moved to a quieter town, and tried to learn what it meant to just be. No headlines, no press. Just mornings with real coffee, bookstores, and flower shops. Then she met Lucas. Rough around the edges but gentle, quiet, but kind. His hands were scarred, his eyes exhausted. But there was something about the way he talked to his daughter in that flower shop. Like the world had hurt him, but he refused to let it hurt her. She saw him. Really saw him. And for the first time in years, she felt safe. Their first date was simple coffee at the Riverside Cafe, a walk through the old train yard, and sitting on the bench by the park as the sun went down. Lucas gave her the flowers. She was quiet for a moment before whispering, "They're perfect." She didn't know about the watch. He didn't know about the billions. But both of them knew they were seeing something rare in each other. Honesty. Over the next few weeks they kept meeting. Emma loved Elise. Elise brought her storybooks, listened to her ramble about dinosaurs and space and pancakes. Lucas watched them together and felt something strange growing inside him. Possibility. But the closer they got, the more the weight of secrets began to show. One night, Elise asked, "Lucas, why haven't you asked what I do?" He shrugged. Didn't seem like it mattered. She smiled, almost sadly. It does, eventually. He didn't press. But that night, Elise stared at her unopened laptop and the 67 unread emails from the Monroe board. She knew she couldn't run from her name forever. Sooner or later, Lucas would know. The world would know. Everything came crashing down 2 weeks later. Lucas was at the grocery store when he saw Elise on the front page of a luxury business magazine. The picture was her. The story was her life. And in that moment, Lucas felt like a fool. She had money, power, legacy, and he'd sold his dead wife's watch just to buy her flowers. He didn't answer her calls, didn't open the door when she came by. Emma asked where Miss Elise went, but Lucas just said she had to go away. 2 weeks passed. And then, one rainy evening, Elise showed up again. Soaked to the bone, no makeup, no driver, no umbrella. Just her heart in her hands. "I didn't lie to you," she said, her voice shaking. "I just didn't know how to tell you." Lucas didn't say anything. "I'd trade every cent I have to feel the way I do when I'm around you and Emma. I didn't want to impress you. I wanted to matter to you." Lucas finally looked up. His eyes were wet. "I sold my wife's watch to buy you flowers." Her breath caught. "I didn't think I'd ever love again," he said. "But you made me hope again. And then I found out you weren't who I thought you were." "I'm not," she whispered. "I'm better. With you?" They stood in silence, rain falling like a curtain between the past and the future. And then Lucas stepped forward. He took her hand. "I don't care about the money," he said. "I just care that you stayed."